Hello and welcome to a special broadcast on the US Open Final, the final slam on DD India. The stage is set in New York for a blockbuster showdown between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, two young superstars, one final and the chance to finish the season on top. Sunday's showdown will also decide the supremacy in men's tennis. On the women's side, Sabalenka showed why she is the world number one, powering past Amanda Anisimova to lift her second consecutive US Open crown and the fourth major overall. Over the next half hour, we will bring you all the action, analysis and big talking points from the Flushing Meadows. So let's get started. And in men's singles, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz clash in the blockbuster title contest. On Sunday night, they have shared previous 7 Grand Slam titles between them. This is the third consecutive major final this year between the two stars. Alcaraz clinched the French Open before Sinner took home the Wimbledon title. In the summit clash, not only the crown but the number one spot in the rankings is also at stake.
The sport's most gripping contest when defending champion and world number one Jannik Sinner will lock horns with Carlos Alcaraz in the title clash. The top two players will clash in the third consecutive Grand Slam final this year. Alcaraz won the first meeting at the French Open before Sinner came out trumps at the Wimbledon. They have clashed 14 times in their professional career, Alcaraz winning 9 times while Sinner tasted success on the 5 occasions. The past 7 Grand Slams have been clinched by either the Italian or the Spaniard, with Sinner taking home 4 titles. Sinner beat Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-1, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 in the semi-final to reach his 5th consecutive Grand Slam final. The Italian is only the 4th man in history to reach the finals of all 4 Grand Slams in a single season. He joins an exclusive club with Rod Laver, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. The world number one aims to become the first man to successfully defend the US Open crown since Roger Federer in 2008. Meanwhile, Carlos Alcaraz overpowered Novak Djokovic in straight sets in the semi-finals. The 5-time Grand Slam winner has not dropped a set en route to the final. Apart from the crown, the final will also have one additional prize. The winner will take the number one spot in the rankings. Sports Desk, DD India.
Talking about the Indian participation in the US Open, India's Yuki Bhamri also made history at the Flushing Meadows by reaching the semi-finals in the men's doubles category. Yuki Bhamri's dream run ended when he and his partner Michael Venus lost a tightly contested battle in the men's doubles semi-finals. Yuki and Michael went toe-to-toe with the higher-ranked pair of Joe Salisbury and Neil Scoopsey, but ended up losing in a 3-set thriller. Their impressive campaign included a stunning quarter-final victory over the higher-ranked Rajiv Ram and Nikolai Mekty, which secured Yuki a place in the Grand Slam semi-final for the first time in his career. Yuki Bhamri was bidding to become the first Indian since 2015 to win a title at the Flushing Meadows and the first since Rohan Bopanna in 2023 to reach a final. And to break it all down, we are joined by sports analyst Malay Nirav, bringing sharp insights into the mouth-watering finale. And also with us, my colleague and DD India correspondent Abhishek Prasad, tracking all the actions at the US Open. Together we will look ahead to the Alcaraz Sinner and revisit the Aryna Sabalenka's dominant run. So I'll welcome both of you. Malay, first coming to you, talking about this contest, two titans of this generation, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. One is world number one and other is world number 2. So will you call it a 50-50 contest between the two titans of the world tennis, or you will give a slice edge to Jannik Sinner, considering his exploits at the hardcore court?
Well, if you look at the way Sinner has played around the year, then of course Sinner is he looks unstoppable. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, if you're watching the finals, you saw that he was in a bit of a discomfort. And though he says it is all right and he should be fine and so on and so forth, but I don't know. I mean, when you are against Alcaraz and you have been against him in 3 Grand Slam finals in one single year, and that means quite a lot, then of course you want to give everything to it. But the kind of precision and power that Sinner has shown, both precision and power, I think he is going to make it a little tough for Alcaraz.
Malay, as you mentioned that the way Sinner has played in this tournament, but if we talk about particularly this tournament, the form of the two players, we saw that the way Yannick Sinner dropped the set 2 times in this tournament, and he also took a medical timeout in the semi-finals against Felix. But talking about Alcaraz, the way a dominant performance and has not dropped a single set so far in this tournament. And we also know that at hard court, definitely Sinner is the best player. But in current form, do you think this time around Alcaraz has a chance to win, to add one more title this season? Because Sinner has already won 2 and it's time to make it 2-all.
You see, when you defeat somebody like Djokovic, then as it is, your collars are up. So that way, and Alcaraz, the way he has played, the way he has grabbed every opportunity here also in the match against Djokovic. He grabbed a break to open the match as Djokovic pushed a forehand long and the Spaniard had a chance to go a double break in the front. And then he knew that somebody was going to crank up to the heat there, and he, in fact, defeated Djokovic in straight sets. Otherwise, he would have been as you know, he would have won the Grand Slam at the age of 38, or he would have gone to the finals. So that would have been a great feeling for him. But again, when he defeats Djokovic, you know that he will be going there all out. He doesn't want to stop anywhere before he has the crown on his head, at Flushing Meadows. So, he has been playing very well. There's no doubt about it. And this person, his only loss that came to Sinner was in Wimbledon final, if I rightly remember. And therefore, the 22-year-old Spaniard is seeking his 6th major and 2nd in New York after winning the title in 2022. And he'll be playing top-ranked Sinner. So it's going to be a great contest.
Definitely, it's going to be a great contest between the world number 1 and the world number 2. And both of them have played fantastic tournament tennis throughout the last 2 years, sharing the last 7 Grand Slam between them. Also joining us, DD India correspondent Abhishek Prasad. Abhishek, we have seen the dominance of we can say the big 2 after the dominance of the big 3 in the world of tennis. We saw last 2 decades were dominated by the big 3, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, and now the 2 youngsters are coming and taking that baton ahead. So how you look this rivalry between Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner, considering the fact that the dominance in the men's tennis is continued by the few players?
Definitely, Narayan, these big 2 players, Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner, has redefined the modern tennis rivalry in the past few years. Earlier, what we saw, the big 3 used to dominate the tennis for over more than 2 decades. And after the exit of 2 of the big players, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, that rivalry diminished, and then the baton passed to these 2 big players, Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. In their prime time, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic dominated every court, every Grand Slam. When they were at their prime, they used to play long matches and have created many moments which will be remembered by fans and tennis pundits. But like in every sport, baton has to be passed, and you cannot play longer, you cannot play forever. So and it's good for the game of tennis also, with the kind of rivalry this both players Alcaraz and Sinner is playing. We term as Sincaraz, and their rivalry started in US Open 2022, where Alcaraz defeated Sinner in the quarterfinal. Thereafter, Alcaraz has take the hold of have nine wins against Sinner, who has 5 wins. So the rivalry, this has passed the baton. Earlier, when the big three used to play, then there certain players came like Stanislas Wawrinka, Andy Murray, but they could not create that space. Those big three didn't give them the space to dominate the game further. So, but with Alcaraz, you see Alcaraz, the way he has single-handedly defeated Djokovic in the semi-final shows his dominance, his dominance over the game. The hold he has over his forehand is immense. So I think this is the good for the game of tennis also, that new players are coming. There is Sinner, there is Alcaraz, there is also Alexander Zverev, Taylor Fritz. So it will be today a new king of New York City will be decided.
A new king of the New York City will be decided, as Abhishek is saying. Malay, as we were discussing, the big three and also the big two of the young, we can say the next generation, the present and the future of the world tennis. One thing I want to know, we are saying that Carlos Alcaraz defeated Novak Djokovic, but one thing is that Novak Djokovic at its peak can defeat Carlos Alcaraz at its peak. Do you think if Djokovic would have been at his peak in his full fitness, would it have been possible that he lost the match? In that case, I am asking.
Look, coming back is a part of the game. The way one comes back is very important in making and carving out the future of any player. If you look at Roger Federer, the way he came back, the kind of resilience that he had shown was just inimitable. It was just enviable and nothing more than that. And after that, you have seen others also trying to do the same. Djokovic came back, he performed very well, but don't forget, Narayan, that all things notwithstanding, there is something called wear and tear. See, how long can your body go? Now, here is a man, just if you look at, I'm just comparing Djokovic and Sinner. Look at the age of Sinner. At 24 years, 22 days. He's today 24 years, 22 days, this Sunday, and he is bidding to become the youngest man in the Open era to play in finals of all 4 Grand Slam tournaments in one season. It hasn't happened after Roger Federer. And he was 25 years, 33 days, if I remember rightly, in 2006. So Sinner is going to beat him if he does that. So he is bidding to become the youngest. And we are talking about somebody who is showing signs of wear and tear, right? And there can always be a comeback. But right. Djokovic of 2 years or 3 years back will not be seen again continuously on different types of courts in the Grand Slams.
Definitely, it's not possible to bring back the past. We know that age is a factor. We can't say that age is a number. Age is a factor too. Now, moving to the women's section, where we know that what happened last night, world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka has etched her name further into the history of the world tennis. In New York, Sabalenka defeated America's Amanda Anisimova in straight sets to lift her second consecutive US Open crown. With this victory, she also becomes the first woman since Serena Williams to defend her title at the Flushing Meadows. Here is more on her landmark triumph at Flushing Meadows.
Aryna Sabalenka delivered another display of power and poise to retain her US Open crown. The world number 1 defeated 8th seed Amanda Anisimova 6-3, 7-6 under the lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium to claim her 4th Grand Slam singles title, all of them on hard courts. Sabalenka stamped her authority early, breaking Anisimova's serve twice to pocket the opening set. But the American, backed by a packed home crowd, fought back bravely in the second set, even breaking Sabalenka when she was serving for the title at 5-4. That only delayed the inevitable. The defending champion steadied her nerves in the tiebreak, eventually sealing the match on her third championship point before collapsing to her knees in celebration. The victory makes Sabalenka the first woman since Serena Williams in 2014 to successfully defend the US Open title. It also extends her Grand Slam final record on hard courts to 4 victories, underlining her dominance on the surface. She now has 2 Australian Open and 2 US Open titles under her belt. At just 27, Sabalenka has firmly established herself as the game's premier force, and with back-to-back US Open titles, she has ensured her place among the sport's greats. Her numbers continue to grow impressive. A 100th career Grand Slam match win, a 34-6 record at the US Open, and 56 victories already this season, more than any other player on the WTA Tour. With 4 titles this year, Sabalenka has taken her overall title win tally to 21. For Anisimova, this was her first US Open final. She had stunned 6-time major winner Iga Swiatek and 4-time champion Naomi Osaka en route to the title clash. Despite defeat, her run has underlined her resurgence and her potential to become a Grand Slam champion in the near future. Aryna Sabalenka's triumph not only secures her 4th major title but also reaffirms her as the undisputed world number 1. Sports Desk, TD India.
So, Aryna Sabalenka defended her US Open title, and Malay is again joining us on this discussion. We will continue. Malay, before going to this women's singles match where Sabalenka won, I want to ask one thing to you, that if you talk about the men's tennis, in the last 20 years we saw the dominance of the big 3. After that, the Alcaraz and Sinner are there dominating, and if you take a look, the last 7 slams won by these 2 players. But in women's circuit, we see every time a new single winner. In singles, we see witnessing a new winner, whether it is a Sabalenka, whether it is a Coco Gauff, many other players. So how you look this variety in women's section, a new winner, and in men's always dominated by the few players?
Well, in the women's section, obviously, as you were very rightly saying, the quality of players that you see on the top, I think it's more evident in the women's section than what you see in the men's sections. Now look at Aryna Sabalenka. She had a bad year of frustration. And now she's defending the US Open. She's going to make history, hopefully. But she had painful defeats to Madison Keys in the Australian Open final, Coco Gauff in the French Open final, as well as Anisimova in the Wimbledon semi-finals just 2 months ago. So Sabalenka ensured that she finished the season with a Grand Slam title with an emphatic display in New York, no doubt about that. But there were others also, as you rightly said, who were trying to challenge her at different Grand Slams, and she was not able to beat them. So it is not as if single or double or triple stars are covering the entire tennis horizon of women's tennis. There are more than 1, there are more than 2, there are more than 3, there are more than 4, there are more than 5. You have very rightly said. Now, if you look at, for example, Anisimova, Amanda Anisimova. Now, Amanda Anisimova was seen struggling in the final, as you would have seen during her Open final. She had to suffer defeat at the hands of Sabalenka, but she was a different player altogether when you saw her at Wimbledon. And she was struggling with her service yesterday because she could not see the ball against the white roof of Arthur Ashe Stadium. That is her complaint. Now, the thing is that she may have a genuine problem, but then if she was not playing, even then there were many others who would have come there and taken her position. So, though Sabalenka retains her title and world number one, no doubt about that. She's probably the best.
Right.
We cannot say the best because she's one of the best. When you lose in 3 of the 4 major Grand Slams in 1 year, you can't be seen as the best or the second best. Because here also you have other players who come and they just shine and they just disappear under the cloud for some time, rise again. So this is the case of women's tennis currently in the world. And Sabalenka stands out as a bright star, but I'm not seeing her not getting clouded by other players' feet and style and others'
Right.
Techniques.
Malay, as you mentioned, she's not the best, but one of the best in the women's circuit right now. If you take a look at her credential in the recent past, she won the US Open, and then in the next 2 Grand Slams, in the Australian Open and French Open, she was the runner-up. And in the Wimbledon 2, she lost to Anisimova in the semi-finals and again winning the US Open. So do you think, as you mentioned, that she's one of the best, but she is the most dominant in the women's circuit right now. So what makes Sabalenka one of the most dominant? What are the key traits of his game, her game? What is how she is handling the big players? She is continuously in the finals and the semi-finals of the tournament. So your words on her, we can say that what makes her different?
See, there are 2 or 3 things. First, her brilliance, no doubt about it.
Right.
I mean, she's unbeatable when it comes to service. Again, the power, endurance, standing there, the grit, the determination. Also, baseline tennis that she plays sometimes is fantastic. So these are the qualities. Now, there's another thing with her. She is not the one who will give up easily. Even when she lost, and lost not 1 but 3 Grand Slam titles, which she would have won.
Right.
She was out of the race. She was very much there. But then again, she did not give up and she came back. And this is one of the biggest qualities that you need in a tennis player, where the game is of not only endurance and stamina, it is also a game of skill and patience. Because if it had not been the game of patience, again, I'm forced to take the name of Roger Federer, my favorite tennis player.
Right.
Because the kind of ups and downs that he saw, and every time there was a down, we thought the up to be evident very soon.
Definitely, as you mentioned, that the way things happen, her brilliance, the way she handled the pressure, she lost the many finals, and finally again winning the US Open shows that she is one of the best in the women's circuit. Thanks, Malay, for joining us and giving us a wonderful perspective on both the men's and women's tennis at the US Open. Thanks a lot for joining us. And now let's take a look at the Grand Slams shared by the greatest rivals of the modern tennis. Talking about first, Jannik Sinner won 4 Grand Slams, and Australian Open 2024, US Open 2024, and Australian Open 2025, and Wimbledon 2025. Talking about Carlos Alcaraz, he has won so far 5 Grand Slam, US Open 2022, and Wimbledon 2023, French Open 2024, and Wimbledon 2024, and this year he won the French Open 2025. So both the 2 players are sharing the legacy between them and hoping they will continue what the big 3 has done for the tennis and will take that baton to the next level in the world of tennis. So that's all we have for you on the special broadcast on DD India. The final slam, the US Open final, promises a thrilling finish as Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner battle for the supremacy, while Aryna Sabalenka has already stamped her authority in New York. Thank you for joining us, and thanks to our guest and our correspondent for joining us, and thank you for watching. Keep following DD India for the best coverage of the sports news. Namaskar.